So here's a serving size of cooking oil. This amount is 120 calories for 1 tablespoon. And for context, a typical 30-minute training session burns on a loose average 180 calories. So you can already see that such a small serving size of oil can nearly equate to a 30-minute exercise session, which means if you aren't being mindful with how calorie dense certain foods are, or if you are simply underreporting some of your calories, well, it's quite easy to overeat or eat back what you burned off. Now, I'm not saying that you have to track everything in your diet, but doing so for a period of time until you have a good gauge of what foods may be causing your weight loss to stall could be the single difference maker when it comes to seeing success in your weight loss journey. So here are 6 more foods that may be contributing more calories than you think. So number 1 is the milk and cream that you put in your coffee. Now coffee itself has 0 calories and it's a fantastic pre-workout, but if you're adding milk and creamer, well, you're essentially just adding in calories, which is fine, but you have to acknowledge that this is a contributor to your caloric intake, and it can be a pretty big one too. For context, there's about 100 calories in just 2 tablespoons of cream. So if you drink coffee throughout the day and you're loading up on cream and sugar, well, you're quickly adding up those calories throughout the day, and they may very well exceed the amount you need to lose weight. And number 2 is butter. Now, I love butter, but honestly, I don't actually use too much of it unless I'm making some sort of sauce. But did you know that 1 tablespoon of butter is about 100 calories? That's similar to 1 medium-sized banana in terms of calorie intake. Here, have a look at the size difference. As you can see, this is a calorie-dense ingredient, and while it's fine to consume in your diet, it's probably not something that you can indulge in without being mindful of. I think by now you can already see where this list is going. Foods that are small in volume but dense in calories can really add up to your caloric intake without much notice. And number 3 is salad dressing. I think anyone who's trying to lose weight could benefit from eating more vegetables. Not only are they rich in micronutrients, but they keep you full for a very long time, which is important when losing weight. Unfortunately, dousing your salad with too much dressing might just defeat the purpose of eating vegetables when it comes to weight loss. 2 tablespoons of dressing alone can reach up to as high as 210 calories. For context, here is 1 serving size of spinach, and here's 1 serving size of Caesar salad dressing. Look at the sheer difference in volume versus calories. Now, a pretty easy fix would simply be to choose a lower calorie dressing that can range anywhere between 50 to 80 calories per serving. But if you do want to indulge in your dressing, then it's just another source of calories that you need to make sure that you're accounting for. And number 4 is dipping sauce. Now, honestly, certain dipping sauces are just fine. I mean, if you consider condiments like mustard or barbecue sauce, they can have as low as 25 calories per tablespoon. But when you start to get into the heavier ones and you're dipping like every 5 seconds, well, those calories are gonna rack up. If you haven't noticed already, the trend here is that foods that are calorically dense are also not the most satiating, which is why it's easy to overeat. And number 5 are liquid foods in general. It's a lot easier to consume your foods quickly when they're in liquid form, and when this is the case, that's where calories can really pack on. Take an alcoholic beverage like beer or wine, or even a sweetened drink like Coke, all of which have 100 calories or over per serving. If you aren't tracking these or at least accounting for the calories in them, well, what's stopping you from going over your daily caloric intake? There's a reason that mass gainers are also in the form of shakes. So if you're someone who's locked your diet down during the weekdays, but then when the weekend rolls around and you're not at least moderating how many liquid calories you consume, that might be another reason why you're struggling to see consistent weight loss. And number 6 are bite-sized snacks. Have you ever noticed that when serving sizes are small, you're willing to just eat more of it? Here's an example. These Reese's miniature cupcakes are tiny, but 3 of them alone are 130 calories, and I know all of us could eat more than just 3 of them. So identify certain snacks that may be more calorie dense and realize that high amounts of calories can come in small packages. Now, I do want to be clear. These are not fat gaining foods, just like there aren't any fat loss foods. Fat loss will come down to a calorie deficit, but certain foods can make it harder to lose weight, especially if they're calorically dense. But what might make it even harder to lose weight is not having the knowledge or perspective to know the degree that these foods may be contributing to your overall calorie intake. This can result in you eating more than you realize or simply underreporting the calories from them. When it comes to losing weight, I don't think you have to track your macros, nor do I believe you need to give up these foods, at least not permanently. And I don't personally think that obsessively tracking macros is a good idea for the vast majority of people. But if you are trying to lose weight, it might be in your interest to find out if these types of foods are part of your eating habits and then address them accordingly. For most people, the simple fix is simply identifying them and then either reducing consumption or understanding that you need to be a little bit more precise in your measurement. For instance, if you're using cooking oil or salad dressing, well then consider using a measuring spoon as opposed to just eyeballing it. If you like drinking carbonated beverages, maybe try a 0-calorie option. If you enjoy coffee with milk and sugar, maybe use half the amount you normally would. Making these simple adjustments really isn't difficult, but you do have to take some initiative. As I've said before in the past, it's not hard to understand what drives fat loss, but putting it into practice does require you to put in a little work. Anyway, that's it for today's session. I really hope this list helped you identify certain foods that might have been the culprit for you, especially if you've been struggling to lose weight. And if you think I've left anything out, let me know down below in the comments section. But as always, if you found this video helpful, consider crushing that like button and subscribe to the channel. And until then, I'll see you all next time.